doesn't matter how big a game gets, they'll all eventually get old and die out, and their servers will get shut down by the developers, rendering them unplayable to its remaining and future fans. When a game as influential as Halo 2 was due to shut down and officially die, the gaming community rose up, and players came to enjoy the game just one last time before it was gone forever. But a game is not dead until the final player leaves, which sparked the final stand for Halo 2. Halo 2 was a massive first-person shooter game, considered one of the greatest video games of all time and the very game that kickstarted the original Xbox Live, being its most popular game for over 2 years after release. Tragically, with the announced ending of the then 7-year-old Xbox Live service, Halo 2's iconic multiplayer was marked for death, as the game's matchmaking relied on Xbox Live services to function. Players were given an expiry date. After the 15th of April 2010, Halo 2 was to be no more. Thousands of players flooded back to the game to relive their memories, play with friends, and recreate what they once had before moving on to the Xbox 360. But as the clock struck midnight, players realized something strange. They hadn't been kicked off. The thing about Halo 2 is that it wasn't shut down in the way that we had all expected. Any player who was still online after midnight was left to continue playing until they logged off. Any online player who then logged off would never be able to return again. Halo 2 was not over yet, and its remaining thousands of players had one more battle left. The plan to never log off. Players continued to pour hours of playtime into their beloved game, playing match after match across different maps and modes. Some players wanted to stay as long as they could, while others to come to the end and left forever. Over time, disconnecting became a pattern. People were just ready to move on. They had other things to do, other games to play, and some simply just couldn't keep their Xbox on 24 hours a day. Whether they left at their own accord or they were tragically kicked out for whatever reason, the player count was dwindling, and by the 27th of April, just 14 players remained. The final 14 players dedicated themselves to just one goal: keep Halo 2 alive for as long as humanly possible, refusing to leave no matter what. But since the game had already lost thousands of people over the span of just a few days, the question was, how long could they really last? And the answer was multiple weeks, granting them their legendary title of the Noble 14. But this couldn't last forever. The remaining players had to resort to custom games as they couldn't even fill a lobby anymore. Deten had dropped out. Seifa Sword, Sherlock 1, and H2O Shuagi made their goodbyes. An internet dropout took out Zombie Stench, and Rob2D disconnected just a little while after. Hired Noobs got booted after signing into his account to check out Halo Reach, and a power outage killed off XX Booked XX and a foreign object. By May, only 5 players remained, and that wouldn't last very long. Dirt Kajun seemingly disappeared on the 5th, and MacDaddy had left just 3 days afterwards, alongside Lord Odysseus 11, whose internet had crashed. By the 10th of May, just 2 players were keeping the game alive. But after surviving a few storms and the looming doom of a power or internet outage, Agent Windex had been logged out.
Good job, Apache. You're last.
Apache Enforcer was the final player to remain inside of Halo 2, with the history of the entire game weighing on his Xbox. He was left to roam the empty maps where over 324 million games had been played. There were no longer enemies to eliminate, objectives to beat, or friendships to form. He was well and truly alone. Apache established one final plan: to survive for 15 more hours.
I think I planned on playing it for 15 hours. Basically an hour for every person that played, the 14 of us, and then the extra hour for the community.
On the 11th of May at 1:58 AM, 25 days after the game was originally planned to end, Apache Enforcer had lost connection to the game, sealing the fate of the Noble 14, Halo 2, the original Xbox Live, and an entire era of gaming. There was no reward, no grand finale, just the end. But hope is not lost, because Halo 2's dedicated community had never disappeared, and over a decade later, people had found a way to play the game again on the original Xbox with a little bit of help from some third-party hardware.